feeling like, well, wait a minute, it says that we're 10th.
Yeah, so I actually rode home with my parents. So Coach O calls me, he goes, Katie, I get to coach you one more game. And I'm like sitting there like, oh my gosh, like there is no way. So he goes, I heard you threw away your shoes. And I was like, yeah, they're in the trash can. So I got some new shoes and we're good to go.
Yeah, what was that feeling like? Because obviously in several sports, wrestling, you leave your shoes on the mat, or if you're a baseball, softball player, you leave them on the diamond. Or I've seen guys throw away their shoes before, sometimes because, they're a little nasty at the end of the season, obviously. But in your mind, was there a sense of panic when you realized, like, oh crap, I'm going to need those?
No. I was like, we have so many pairs of shoes. We get so many pairs of shoes. I was just like, man, I'm going to have to break some in before Wednesday because I've been wearing those all year during practice and games, so I had to bring in a new pair of shoes.
Well, I know it was a big goal for you and the seniors to get back to Kansas City. How have you tried to mentally, go from being relaxed, okay, kind of process the end of my career, and now, okay, God, we got to get locked in. We've got a game plan. We've got practice. We've got preparation. And we've got a road trip.
Yeah, I felt like that night on Saturday I was, trying to turn my mind around. I was kind of in shock. I just kind of kept laughing about it because I was like, wow, this is real. And then Sunday I was like, okay, we have a good opportunity here. We're lined up. We're ready to go. So just putting everyone in that situation again.
Caroline.
Yeah, it's awesome. I feel like we're just trying to prove ourselves. We've gotten so much better already, and we can just really show everyone how much better we've really gotten throughout the season.
And last time you guys played Central Missouri, it was a pretty big day for you. What did you see from then? And I guess what are you guys hoping to maybe replicate, or what are you hoping to do against Central Missouri?
Yeah, we've been really kind of emphasizing getting the ball to the basket these last couple of games, and I feel like it's really helped us. So just keep doing that and getting everyone to play their best game because we never know when it can end, obviously.
Right. And when it gets to this point in the year, what are you guys hearing from Coach O? What is he preaching to you guys just about the difference, going from regular season to postseason, mindset change, all of those things? What has Coach been kind of drilling into you guys?
Last week it was really about a championship game. That was our championship game on Saturday, and it didn't turn out how we wanted it to. But now it's just another opportunity to go out there, have fun, and play, and just really see how much we've grown in this past year.
Well, thank you.
Andrew.
Katie, what is an opportunity to say about the resiliency of this group? You guys, you even thought it was over, you threw away your shoes, but just, to kind of stick with it. You didn't know if this was going to be the end of your season, but it shows a lot of growth. Can you kind of just speak to how this group stayed together and stayed with it? It's not something that you guys wanted, but here you are playing in March.
Yeah, this is, great. It's good to get us all out there, and we have 9 freshmen who've never even been to the MIAA tournament, and this is big for them, and we keep kind of telling them, this is really cool. This is, some of the coolest things they'll ever get to do, and just talk about that, going to play under the bright lights, and it's just going to be a good, fun day for us.
How do you approach a game like that? You mentioned 9 freshmen. Obviously, you've done this for a few years, so how do you kind of what advice are you telling them in terms of handling themselves, still having the confidence, although it's going to be in a different arena in front of different fans? How do you handle the bright lights, as you said?
Yeah, it's just kind of like every other game. It's just everyone's going to put out their best foot forward because we're all fighting to play for the next game. So just really telling them, go out there, play your game, be yourself, and, we'll all show up for each other in that moment.
And then finally, how do you balance wanting to play relaxed versus knowing that if you don't win, you're out? How do you want to approach a game kind of with a clean slate mentality, but also know that every possession ultimately does matter?
Yeah, just as Coach says, we take it one possession at a time, 5 minutes at a time, and really just focusing on that. And most of all, like, nerves are good. It makes you play good sometimes, so just really embracing them all.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing in Kansas City that you're looking forward to? Doesn't have to be arena, anything.
The breakfast spot. It's really good. The omelets, I've got them every year, and they're really good.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Did you start to get word or a whiff that maybe your season was not maybe as over as we thought it was during post game?
Well, I think it started with our son Robert, who's a software engineer up in Omaha, Nebraska, and he was at our game, and he was at our last two games, and he claimed, he goes, "Dad, I think you still have a chance." And I go, "You're crazy. There's no way." Northeastern won, so Northeastern is going to jump us is what I kind of figured. But so on the bus ride back to Emporia, we started looking up some things and found out that they had updated the KPI standings, and we found out that we were not only ahead of Northeastern, we were ahead of them by a distance. We were barely ahead of Central Oklahoma, and there was one game still to be played. So I guess I became an Ichabod fan for just a very short period of time, because their win over Missouri Southern was a North Division win over a South Division opponent, and that became huge because now we created even more distance after their win, and we were in by 0.04 of a point.
When you get around, you talk about after the game how thankful you were at that time, thinking it's the last game, about, well, I was so grateful to be able to coach this team. So much adversity you've gone through this year. What does it mean to get this one game, this unexpected game, to share with these ladies 40 more minutes? Is all you're guaranteed, but at least getting 40 more minutes in Kansas City with them.
Yeah, you probably have to ask the whole team, because we announced it on the bus, and I told them we're going to Kansas City, and we were all gathered together on the bus in the center of the bus, and they all went crazy, and they were really excited. And I said, I get to coach you guys a few more days, and I get to coach you at practice. And I told them today at the beginning of our practice that the best part for me is I get to watch them play under the bright lights in Kansas City, and it's going to be fun to watch them play again.
Well, last thing, I don't know, I know that there were some on social media. They had several comments about how this came out, KPI, and all that. Is that something that you've paid attention to, or are you more focused on, hey, let's just get ready for the Jennings?
Well, I'm not on social media right now, so I was just in preparation for the Jennies. Here the last 48 hours. Obviously, we followed the standings. When the KPI was being released, but after it was released, we haven't sent any thank you cards out or anything like that yet. But we're glad to be in there. You know what? Our girls deserve to be in there. We've played some really good basketball the last month, and Kearney, who just beat Fort Hays. I mean, we have an opportunity to win up in Kearney 2 weeks ago, and we don't close the deal. And then Missouri Western, of course, we have a 9-point lead in the last 2.5, 3 minutes and let it slip out of our hands. So we're playing better. That's why I'm excited to have other people see how we're playing, because we'll go up there and we're going to play exceptionally hard, and we're playing very well together right now. So it's a fun team to watch play, and I hope people come out and see us.
Caroline.
Hey, Coach. When you get to this time of the year, you're playing in March. What is special about this opportunity?
I think, as I told the players today, Caroline, the most special part for me is actually getting to watch them compete again. This particular group has been a very, very resilient group all year through tons of adversity, from player dismissal to just player injuries that we've had. It's been a difficult year, and to see them continue to fight every night in every practice, and with 9 freshmen, 4 freshmen at times have been in the starting lineup. First time ever, I understand, here at Emporia State. So it's just a joy to be able to coach them. A couple more practices, go to Kansas City, enjoy some good barbecue, and enjoy playing in one of the most historic arenas in our country that's still going strong, Municipal Auditorium. Yeah, they pose a lot of problems because they've got several players that can score. They got arguably the biggest and best front line in the conference, and they're not as deep as I'm sure Coach Slifer would like to be, but their top 4 or 5 players are as good as anyone's. And for a tournament, they may be built for a tournament because they've got a big that can really score. Maybe the player of the year, certainly one of the best players in our league, in Schaaf inside. So they're playing solid basketball right now. They had an opportunity to win at Pittsburgh the other night, who won our league. So we've played them twice, as you alluded to. We know each other pretty well. Should be a heck of a basketball game. We both got 1 win, so I guess we get to settle it late Wednesday night. Yeah. Caroline, nothing's really changed in our approach. Yeah, it's tournament basketball, it's March Madness. We get to, enjoy all the stuff that goes around that, and everybody knows it's win in advance, or if you don't, you go home. So we understand that part of it, but the focused, being able to play one single possession at a time, valuing that possession, being able to go from 5 minutes and into the next 5 minutes and maintain that focus, and understanding, now we're playing Central Missouri. There's a certain game plan that goes to Central Missouri that's different from a week or 10 days ago playing Missouri Western or Nebraska Kearney. And so we really try to just keep our focus on continuing to get better and continuing to stay in the moment. We talk a lot about playing in the moment, and that's a very difficult thing to do for any youngster, and that's what we're striving to do each and every time out on the court.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Caroline.
Andrew.
Hey, Coach. Andrew Lind, Sports Director at WIVW. Nice to meet you.
Well, welcome, Andrew.
Thank you. Just one thing for you, and it's been asked several times, so I'm just going to ask it a different way. How proud are you of the girls? I mean, you've mentioned that you get to watch them on the bright lights in a historic building, but just how proud are you of everything that they've done this year? We just heard from Katie, a girl who's done this a time or two, and now she gets to kind of lead this next wave of 9 freshmen through a March tournament.
Yeah, boy, that's a hard. I get emotional about it. I love this team, and I love these young ladies, and they've given me everything I've asked. And there's been so many times that if the pendulum would have swung another way, for whatever reason it didn't, and we were ending up on the disappointing result. And so to get to coach them a couple more practices, see them play in Kansas City, just enjoying that moment, and then trying to treasure that moment of playing in Kansas City in tournament basketball, in hopes that we can play well enough against Central Missouri to play another day. And proud of Katie Harina for the leadership that she's provided. Gracie Gilpin, those have been my leaders, and I've leaned on them for a lot of decisions that we've made throughout the season. So they've taken a great deal of ownership in the team. So to see that be rewarded, regardless of how it turned out through the KPI, seeing that being rewarded is pretty exciting for me, and very proud.
And then on a lighter note, I'm not sure if you were in the room when Dawn asked Katie her favorite thing about going to Kansas City, but we'll flip the question for you. Is there a favorite spot or something that you are going to enjoy being downtown? Or are you looking for a dinner, or what? Like, are you guys going to do a team dinner of some sort, or kind of what are you most excited about to get to KC?
Well, back in 1996 was my first time in Municipal Auditorium when I was an assistant men's coach at UMKC, so it's got fond memories there, the auditorium. But I would say Jack Stack Barbecue, where we're taking the team to dinner tomorrow night on Tuesday evening, and the fact that I'll remind them that it was a successful dinner prior to our first game in last year's tournament, so let's see if we can repeat that performance and advance to play another day.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Just talk about Kansas City and basketball, because we're going to be playing their Big 12s there at the same time. Just talk about what it means to be playing basketball in Kansas City.
Well, the Big 12 women's tournament's, of course, going on at the same time, and my K-State Wildcats turn around and play. We'll get done about 11 at night, and they play 11 the next morning. having the atmosphere of both the Big 12 women's tournament and our tournament there at the same time. You can go back to when I first started coaching at Northwest Missouri State in the late 80s, and the NAI tournament was a big thing still back then in Kansas City. And so, and still Municipal Auditorium, I still believe holds the record for most Final Fours in one building. So it's been a long time since they've hosted one, I think the 70s, but nonetheless, just the whole blitz and glamour of Kansas City is pretty awesome to experience, and all the different things that are going on all at the same time. It'll be a lot of fun for our girls, and again, that's why I'm so excited for them to be able to just walk around and see that. There's a great word recently I heard was called wonder, and I want our players to wonder about the beauty and the majesty of Kansas City and the lights, and we'll go down on the plaza, and it's a great city for basketball, and just to take advantage of the wondrous opportunity that the good Lord has provided us here in Kansas City.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Andrew. And welcome, Andrew. Thank you, Caroline.